1937, in the depths of the Great Depression, Napoleon Hill published a book based on 20 years of research into the wealthiest, most successful people in America, a study personally commissioned by steel magnate Andrew Carnegie. The result was Think and Grow Rich, and its central claim is simple but radical, that wealth begins as a thought, a burning desire held with such intensity that it eventually reshapes reality around it. Hill illustrates this with the story of Edwin Barnes, a man with almost no money who traveled to Thomas Edison's laboratory with one goal, not to work for Edison, but to become his business partner. He started in a low-level role, and for months nothing happened. But when Edison's engineers developed a new device called the Ediphone that nobody wanted to sell, Barnes seized the opportunity, built its distribution into a nationwide success, and became exactly what he set out to be: Edison's business associate. Hill's point is that Barnes never had the resources to succeed. He had a decision, and everything else followed from it. From this, Hill lays out 6 steps for turning desire into results. Decide exactly what you want with total precision. Decide what you're willing to give in exchange, since nothing valuable comes without a fair trade. Set a specific deadline. Create a plan and start immediately, ready or not. Write the whole thing down in one clear statement, and read that statement aloud twice a day, morning and night, visualizing yourself already in possession of the goal. It sounds simple, but Hill insists this daily repetition is what reprograms the mind to notice opportunities a distracted person would miss entirely. This connects to Hill's second principle, faith, which he defines not as religious belief, but as a deliberately cultivated conviction that your goal is achievable. People who genuinely believe they'll succeed take more risks, persist longer, and act differently in ways that compound over time. His third principle, autosuggestion, is essentially self-programming. The idea that whatever thoughts you feed your mind repeatedly, wanted or not, eventually shape your beliefs and your behavior. Next comes specialized knowledge. Hill draws a sharp line between general education and deep, specific expertise. He points to Henry Ford, who was mocked in a courtroom for not knowing certain historical facts, and simply replied that he could hire someone to answer those questions in minutes. So why clutter his mind with them? Ford's wealth came from deep expertise in one domain, not broad trivia. The lesson is to stop trying to know a little about everything and instead become genuinely excellent at the one skill tied to your goal. Then there's imagination, which Hill calls the workshop of the mind. Most valuable ideas, he argues, don't come from nothing. They come from combining existing ideas in new ways. He tells of a struggling cereal brand saved not by a new product, but by a banker who reimagined its packaging and marketing entirely. Imagination, like a muscle, grows stronger with deliberate use. This leads into organized planning. A plan is never final. If it fails, you build another and another. Hill points to Colonel Sanders, rejected by over 1,000 restaurants before anyone said yes to his chicken recipe, as proof that persistence in revising the plan matters more than getting it right the first time. Hill also introduces the mastermind principle here, the idea that a group of people with complementary skills, working in harmony toward one goal, generates a kind of intelligence no individual possesses alone. Carnegie's own fortune, Hill notes, was built by a coordinated team of specialists, not by Carnegie working in isolation. The next principle is decision. Hill found that successful people share a habit: they decide quickly and firmly, and change their minds slowly, if ever. People who fail tend to decide slowly and reverse course the moment they face criticism. Fear of judgment, Hill argues, quietly destroys more potential fortunes than any external circumstance. Then comes persistence, and the book's most famous story, that of R.U. Darby's uncle, who staked a gold claim, found a promising vein, brought in machinery, and then watched the vein vanish. After frantic drilling failed to relocate it, the family gave up and sold everything to a junk dealer for pennies on the dollar. That dealer hired a mining engineer who calculated that the vein had simply been interrupted by a geological fault and that the gold sat just 3 feet from where digging had stopped. The new owner found it exactly there and made a fortune. Darby never forgot the lesson, and years later, about to abandon a difficult sale, he stopped himself and said, I will not stop 3 feet from gold again. He closed the deal. Hill's warning is stark. Most people quit at the exact moment right before they would have broken through, and they never find out how close they actually were. Woven through the rest of the book are Hill's ideas about the subconscious mind, which absorbs and acts on whatever thoughts are repeatedly fed to it, and about what he calls the 6 ghosts of fear, poverty, criticism, ill health, lost love, old age, and death, all of which he considers learned habits rather than fixed truths, capable of being consciously replaced. He also warns constantly against drifting, moving through life without a definite purpose, easily swayed by others, never committing fully enough to build real momentum. Strip away the era-specific language, and what remains is a coherent system. Define precisely what you want. Believe genuinely that you can get it. Feed that belief to yourself deliberately and repeatedly. Build real expertise instead of shallow general knowledge. Use imagination actively. Build and rebuild concrete plans. Decide quickly and hold firm. Persist past the point where most people quit. And surround yourself with people whose combined knowledge exceeds your own. Nearly 90 years after it was written, that framework is still the reason Think and Grow Rich remains one of the most read books on success in the world. Not because of any single story, but because it turns a vague wish into a defined target, and a defined target into sustained, focused action.